Hello, my name is Kenya Acosta. I'm going to be presenting today about the world's most used drug. So I have a quote here for all of you guys. States, "It is the world's most used drug, one many of us simply refuse to live without." So I placed this here specifically because today I'm going to be talking about caffeine and its effects. We're going to be proposing some alternatives, and we're going to be explaining the benefits as well. The reason why I've wanted to research this is because I've researched it for my speech class, and I am a college student, so hopefully you can relate to what I'm going to be talking about for today. So let's go ahead and get right into the effects. So some of the direct effects of coffee are health related. So I have a list here for us. So basically, the effects are going to be heart issue, aggressive behavior, mental health disorder like anxiety, depression, migraines, stomach aches. So some of these things might sound like a very long list of that long line that you hear at the end of, the pills that you take or the medication that you see on infomercials. But it's quite often a list of things that get ignored. So some things that I want you to take away from this video today is the signs of caffeine overdose. So this is not so commonly known. So some of the signs in caffeine overdose include chills, headaches, vomiting, hyperventilation, regular heartbeat, and seizures. So that's some of the things that we're seeing more in college students now. If there's student exams or there's long papers to write at the end of the semester, that's where you'll see more implications of that correlate over to emergency rooms, things like that. So there is a caffeine amount that's considered toxic. So up to the amount of 400 milligrams of caffeine per day is safe for most adults. So if you break that down, so 400 milligrams of caffeine break down into 4 cups of 8-ounce coffee, or that would equivalent up to 8 cups of black tea. The other alternative, would be 10 cans of soda. So if you drink that much soda and that's what you're into during final exams, all to you. But there was a study that we looked at for my research, specifically a study that was done over 7 years. So this is people that averagely, or average coffee drinkers. There's 120,000 people in total in this study. So these are people that drank anywhere from 1.5 to 3.5 cups a day of coffee. And what they ended up finding out at the end of that study is that people that drink that amount of coffee actually are less likely to die if they drink coffee with those same consumption levels instead of excessively. So moving on to the lack of moderation in caffeine intake. So the reason why I'm bringing this up to you today are the effects. So in 2011, more than 20,000 emergency room visits in the US were related to energy drinks. So that's one of my sources in Bayer. So what this means is we are seeing consistent demonstration of the effects that are in ER or emergency rooms for all types of people. And I'm also including those being college students as well. So as students continue to spend or depend on caffeine to stay awake, so some of the concerns of spending as much on caffeine is you constantly block that part of your brain that perceives it. So these are called the adenosine receptors. These are for caffeine. This affects how you feel about caffeine long term, and it also affects the dependency on caffeine overall. So some of the benefits that we do currently see, like I said, was the study from 2006 all the way to 2010. So this was done in the UK, and overall the percentage of people affected were anywhere from 29 to 31%. which were less likely to die than a non-coffee drinker. So now that we've established some of the background, lack of moderation in caffeine, we can also begin to visualize what it would mean to consume caffeine on moderation. So if we control our caffeine intake, it will reduce the number of health effects on our body. We will avoid drinking excessively, and we'll also avoid the adverse effects of caffeine overdosage. So if you remember some of those things being like seizure, chills. If we regulate our caffeine intake to only 1.5 to 3.5 cups a day, we can in turn live longer. And if we regulate caffeine intake, we can prevent the caffeine dependency and then also the tolerance overall. So going into my references, I know we skipped over these, but this is just the ER to represent the ER for those parts. And then the study with the result in long life, and these are my sources.